The following message from the YOS Foundation is an anomaly that is kept by the Foundation, and the person needs to be found. YOS 10087. Object Class. Safe. YOS 10087 is putted in a storage room and must be locked at all times. YOS 10087 is a Xbox box which is super tall in height, like 9 meters tall. It has a greenish hue, which is because Xbox is green, and it has a cooler inside. The noise is endless and is cooling down the inside of the box. However, the species that dares to go inside it is screwed. If they get in, they are locked from the outside, but after at least a minute or 56 seconds, they will hear a growling noise. Origin. It has been found in one of the cities by a man. He took it to his house and he randomly took it to his son. 3 minutes later the boy feels his stomach hurting, wanting to poop, but he realized that the house doesn't have a toilet, so he instead pooped in the box. The kid left his room to go on a vacation. 3 minutes while the turd is in the box, the turd freezes and decomposes completely, causing the cooler to be colder, so the boy was the one responsible for making the victims die. The boy was named Richard. Now how did the creature YOS 10087-1 appear? Well, the boy became hostile and kills a species bringing it to the box. The boy ran away from the country to avoid the cops. So that's why it became dangerous to the civilians. YOS 10087-1 wasn't found inside the box. Instead, he forms outside of the box and shakes the box, killing the species instantly. However, if the person inside the box with the person watching the box, it does not form outside of it. The instance only forms when no one's there. If the person is faster enough, they will capture it, putting it in a separate cell. It was originally going to be classified as Keter, but the box wasn't even dangerous enough to be that. It is classified as safe instead. The boy was never found, might be in an unknown location. Stay safe out there and we will gather more information of YOS 10087 until further notice. Yoink, obtain, secure. YOS 5240, Object Class, Euclid, Containment Procedures. YOS 5240 is kept in a room with a chair and a television where YOS 5240 is kept at. The anomalous abilities of YOS 5240 causes someone to commit suicide at this point. Description. YOS 5240 appears to be a run-seen Mickey Mouse cartoon from the 1930s. It shows Mickey walking in a endless town, with a looped animation showing. The music is featuring a eerie piano playing, but eventually switches to static noises. After that, it turns silent. After the static stops the background turns black for a few minutes. When the black screen disappears Mickey appeared walking even further. Eventually screams will be heard from a human male. After the third scream Mickey will have a grin on his face, meaning he's slowly losing his sanity. Before the screaming stops Mickey's grin will expand even more, exposing his teeth with a half-angry grin. Strange noises will be heard and Mickey's eyes will become white, which is dead empty. The town will also be decomposing. Now more screams are heard, and it will last for a few minutes before returning again. The town has decaying even more and Mickey's face will begin melting. He will begin running, maybe not used to the screaming. After the screaming stops Mickey will fall on the ground and releases the syringe which has an unknown chemical. It turns silent again and the demon will appear by Mickey, staring at someone watching it. It will cause a loud noise, which will cause Mickey to no-clip out of the TV. Instead of being suicidal, he will become homicidal. And YOS 5240-2 will kill someone if he spots someone. But unlike other YOS anomalies, he will not get back to where he came from unless someone manages to kill him. YOS 5240-1 releases YOS 5240-2 if someone dares to watch it. The Foundation is trying to find someone who was responsible for making that episode. No evidence of the person hasn't been found. He was classified as Euclid because YOS 5240 needs more resources or maybe he wasn't actually able to be contained. The anomaly is sapient. YOS 5240 isn't known that much. YOS 5240 seems strong enough to bust down steel doors. The TV should be unplugged or turned off at all cost. But TV seems to be anomalous as well. It turns on by itself. We'll be right back when we gather more information about YOS 5240 until further notice. Yoink, obtain, secure. YOS 414, Object Class, Keter, Containment Procedures. YOS is kept in a room inside a glass box and must be locked at all times. Description: YOS 414, also known as the spreading flesh, is a large mass of human flesh which is red and white in color. It was also called the living flesh, due to mobility. This flesh spreads very quickly and devours humans and animals, ripping the skin off to expand 414. It is classified as Keter because, like I said, it spreads fast and must be trapped in a 12-foot box and poured into a glass box. Personnel are not to touch YOS 414 at all. This could cause a containment breach. It is impossible to neutralize this anomalous mass of flesh, because it consumes bullets too. We will find a way to terminate this fleshy beast until further notice. Stay safe out there. YOS 2003, Object Class, Euclid. YOS 2003 is secured at Site 43 surrounded by a metal fence. YOS 2003, also known as the Stacked Houses, is a group of 21 houses stacked together. It is an alternate dimension when going inside it. It contains multiple rooms and dangerous entities inside. Known as 2003-2. None of the people were able to find an exit. It is too heavy and too big to be taken to the Foundation, so they decided to secure it and forbid it for anyone else.
Expect with the Foundation personnel.
Item, YOS 951. Object Class, Euclid. Containment Procedures. YOS 951 is to be kept in a square room surrounded by a keyboard, line lights and a face cam unless for use. Anyone who sees YOS 951 stretch her lips towards must be immediately removed from the chamber. No one is allowed to smooch with YOS 951 by any means. People must be sitting on a chair a mile away from YOS 951. Description: YOS 951 is a computer device, PC, with the face of a human female, with eyes and red lips, doesn't possess a nose and eyebrows. She is capable of stretching her lips to 2 meters, and attempting to kiss the person after interacting. The background behind the face is pink in color. Origin: YOS 951 was found in a store when a man finds it. It was a normal computer device, but the man accidentally activated a unknown application called Kiss Eggs, and the female face appears and immediately kissed the man, eventually killing him with her kiss. She was eventually captured by the Foundation, realizing this application cannot be closed and will permanently be on the screen, and they are forced to stay a mile from her. Incident 951. YOS 951 was originally classified safe, but after she kissed her individual, she broke the windows from her lips and kissed almost all personnel inside 08. Eventually a professor cut her lips with a saw after encountering a near-death experience from her kiss. She expanded her lips to 100 meters long, but due to the saw, she only expands 2 meters for now. She was reclassified as Euclid because of the incident. She was sent to Site 08, a few miles away from YOS 4560 and AMP, YOS 7190. Item, YOS 872. Object Class, Euclid. Containment Procedures. YOS 872 is to be kept in a rectangular cell poured on a huge cup and the rest of the liquid in a soap-shaped hole. No one is to interact with YOS 872 by any means, and personnel wanting to get in the liquid is forbidden. Description: YOS 872 is a colorless acidic gallon of water contained in a cup and soap-shaped hole. It boils when attempting to touch and drink YOS 872 and burning off the skin of the victim with acidic effects, most likely hydrochloric acid. It is completely transparent, seeing the bottom of the cup and pool. Origin. Its origin is unknown. All the Foundation found is that a man is suffering from the acid water and instantly gets killed, and the Foundation finally containing YOS 872. Item. YOS 5023. Object Class. Keter. Containment Procedures. YOS 5023 is to be kept in a closed cave and must block YOS 5023 at all times. The cave must be closed when entering YOS 5023's cell. Description. YOS 5023 is a flaming tornado about 2 meters wide and red flames surrounding it. It is capable of burning any type of objects and living thing, and pulls up light objects and releases any object if the species is spotting a object coming towards it and immediately dies. Origin. It has a rainy day and it looks like a tornado is forming. The people in a house were chilling and for some reason attempting to kill the people. The tornado purposely smashes a car in another one and absorbs all fire it causes and releases fire every time it moves. It soon dies by water tornado but reforms itself and continues absorbing fire and burns the grounds. Contained in Site 12 by YOS 2109 and YOS 8043. Item. YOS 60728. Object Class. Keter. Containment Procedures. YOS 60728-1 and 2 is to be kept in a square room, and a YOS 60728 forest is to kept secured and forbids people from entering. No one is to travel further in YOS 60728. This will cause a containment breach. Description. YOS 60728 is a endless forest filled with trees, no animals and moldy. YOS 60728-1 instances are severed arms found in the forest. They are human arms, meaning some people attempted to enter the forest and killed, but they never even attempted to enter in the first place. They just randomly appear. YOS 60728-2 and severed legs and human-like. They drip blood from the cut of the upper arm and leg. Origin. A family called the Grisons entered a twisted forest. The dad called Herman Grisons, the mom called Melinda Grisons, the son called Justin Grisons and the sister called Lizzie Grisons. They didn't care about it and wants to find a place to have a camping place. Strangely, the son saw a severed arm. He was slightly terrified but ignored it and continues following. They eventually find a place to camp. The dad tells his daughter to find sticks to make a fire. Lizzie finds a couple of sticks and eventually spotting a strange figure and attacks her. The family members heard Lizzie screamed until she dies. The son was shocked and decides to look for her. He saw the same figure Lizzie died to, and screamed until Justin dies. The dad and mom were scared to investigate, eventually spotting the figure. It was a humanoid filled with arms and legs, and Herman and Melinda dies from the humanoid's abilities by exploding their body and head. They were never the same again. Incident 60728. YOS 60728 was once classified as safe, but reclassified as Keter, due to the humanoid's abilities and the arms and legs tearing up the skin of a living being. The arms and legs were sent to Site 29 and the forest secured in Site 20. Item. YOS 1362. Object Class. Euclid. Containment Procedures. YOS 1362 is to be kept in a 3-cell chamber and should be locked at all times. The shield structure is to not be removed unless is to be used for something important. The grass expansion is to be slowed down by an indestructible object. Several grass should be cut off if too much grass is formed. Several instances of YOS 1362 A and B should be locked up in 3 cells if hostility takes over them. Description. YOS 1362 is a large layer of grass filled with unknown species, covering up most lakes and plants. The full grass was cut off by the Foundation, which takes up to 3 years to cut off. They also contained most of the unknown instances of YOS 1362. YOS 1362A is a sentient human skull covered in moist, mold and grass. It doesn't move, but it does takes over the minds of living things and forces them to turn into a YOS 1362A by interacting with the grass. YOS 1362B is a humanoid entity covered in grass. It moves around trying to find any living thing to turn them into a YOS 1362B instance. It also hibernates during the night, sometimes during daytime. It shows extreme hostility to any species it interacts with. Origin: a man and his child finds a random huge grassland they never saw. His child was curious of what was over there. Even though the man thinks it is a bad idea, he decided to go to it. They traveled 10 miles away from the sidewalk, eventually finding a strange human covered in grass. They were confused and dared to approach it. The humanoid spotted them and sprinted toward the child's dad, instantly killing him. The son screamed and runs back to the sidewalk, but the humanoid outruns him and kills him till they eventually turned into an instance. The dad turns into a YOS 1362B instance, and the son turns into a YOS 1362A instance. For some reason the mom was missing, maybe joined the same fate with her husband and son. The Foundation takes 3 years to cut off the full layer of grass and contained in Site 10, along with the entities. Contained in Site 10 a few miles away YOS 9100 and YOS 7629. Item: YOS 4356, Containment Class. Euclid. Disruption Class. VLAM. Risk Class. Warning. Containment Procedures. YOS 4356-2 instances are to be kept in a glass box. The top should be locked shut to prevent the anomalous abilities of YOS 4356-2 from taking effect. No one is to hold or make contact with YOS 4356-2 instances. This would lead to an infection that is fatal and cannot be cured. Description: YOS 4356 is a phenomenon that turns any type of object into a bloody plush toy. The phenomenon is known as YOS 4356-1, while the plushies are known as YOS 4356-2. YOS 4356 is known to curse any subject it makes contact with. It also curses when a subject holds it. For a few weeks, the subject will turn into another YOS 4356-2 instance. YOS 4356-1 does not affect a different type of plush toy since they are a different plush, but with the exception with the lack of blood. Addendum 1. YOS 4356-1 starts infecting every single object continuously, even in the Foundation. YOS 4356-2 instances instantly starts cursing some of the Foundation staff. The personnel had to quickly contain some of it in a glass box. Addendum 2. The infected Foundation staff after about a few weeks turned into a YOS 4356-2 instance. Other personnel took notice of this. They didn't want to touch the plushies, so instead they used a grabber tool to grab YOS 4326-2 instances and bring them to the glass box. Note from Dr.
YOS 4356 is a severely spreading phenomenon where there are so many anomalous plush toys, and it is almost impossible to contain all of them. This phenomenon is spreading to almost everything on Earth. Foundation staff seem to think this anomaly is very dangerous, and the fact that it is very difficult to contain at this point.
YOS 4356's reclassification to Keter is pending. Hey guys. It's me, Daniel, and I will tell you another YOS anomaly, which is YOS 3596. Object Class. Euclid. Oh, and also, Yes, this is similar to the Volgan's videos where he explains SCPs, so don't ask. Containment procedures. YOS 3596 should be entered only if necessary. Personnel are to enter with a suit that YOS 3596 1 instances cannot terminate. No one are to make contact with YOS 3596 1 instances by any means necessary. Any YOS 3596 1 instances that is very aggressive towards any Foundation staff is to be terminated immediately. Description. YOS 3596 is an island located near the country of. It is an unsafe area that has never been visited due to the instances of YOS 3596 1 inhabiting it. YOS 3596 1 instances are a species of reptiles called snakes. Some instances are very deadly and some are not quite deadly. Many instances usually contains venom. Either is it deadly or not. Many YOS 3596 1 instances are hostile to such organisms and will usually bite and inject the venom into the victim's body, and the being will die within a few seconds or not. Foundation staff are currently using suits for protection of landing on YOS 3596. Alright, that's it for this video. See you next time. Item. YOS 3230. Object Class. Keter. Containment Procedures. YOS 3230 is currently uncontained at this time. It is to be found as soon as possible to prevent YOS 3230 from causing so much destruction. Failure to do so will result in YOS 3230 reaching its destination and causing massive destruction. Description. YOS 3230 is a sentient, red vehicle that drives around endlessly on roads. It is extremely aggressive around any living being it sees and will attempt to cause as many injuries as it can. It is currently impossible to contain YOS 3230 at this time due to the endlessly driving of its behavior and is still driving to its destination and causing massive damage. Foundation staff are still trying to find a way to contain YOS 3230 immediately. We will try to contain it until further notice. Item number. YOS 5062. Object Class. Safe. Containment Procedures. YOS 5062 is kept in a room with Valentine gift, TV and bed. Personnel should enter her cell if necessary. Description. YOS 5062 is a human female about 5 feet tall. She seems to be wearing a red dress and brown long hair. She seems to have the ability to let every person that is male bring her Valentine's Day stuff, like chocolates, roses, balloons, etc. Foundation staff once tested with a D class, and he was male, so he gave her stuff for Valentine's Day. Now, let's get to the second anomaly. Item number. YOS 6378. Object Class. Safe. Containment Procedures. YOS 6378 is kept in a room with table underneath it. Personnel are not to encounter YOS 6378 without permission. Description. YOS 6378 is a statue that is strongly resembling the character Cupid. It is sentient and has a bow that shoots arrows, and also makes a person fall in love with another person after shooting an arrow. It seems to be made out of quartz and stone and the statue seems to be a baby. Note. YOS 4356 is reclassified as Keter due to the widespread of YOS 4356-2 instances. Item. YOS 4356. Containment Class. Keter. Disruption Class. VLAM. Risk Class. Warning. Containment Procedures. All YOS 4356-2 instances are to be contained as soon as possible. They must be kept in a glass box, The top should be locked shut to prevent the anomalous abilities of YOS 4356-2 from taking effect. No one is to hold or make contact with YOS 4356-2 instances. This would lead to an infection that is fatal and cannot be cured. Description: YOS 4356 is a phenomenon that turns any type of object into a bloody plush toy. The phenomenon is known as YOS 4356-1, while the plushies are known as YOS 4356-2. YOS 4356 is known to curse any subject it makes contact with. It also curses when a subject holds it. After for a few weeks, the subject will turn into another YOS 4356-2 instance. YOS 4356-1 does not affect a different type of plush toy since they are a different plush, but with the exception with the lack of blood. Addendum 1. YOS 4356-1 starts infecting every single object continuously, even in the Foundation. YOS 4356-2 instances instantly starts cursing some of the Foundation staff. The personnel had to quickly contain some of it in a glass box. Addendum 2. The infected Foundation staff after about a few weeks turned into a YOS 4356-2 instance. Other personnel took notice of this. They didn't want to touch the plushies, so instead they used a grabber tool to grab YOS 4326-2 instances and bring them to the glass box. Note from Dr.
YOS 4356 is a severely spreading phenomenon where there are so many anomalous plush toys, and it is almost impossible to contain all of them. This phenomenon is spreading to almost everything on Earth. Foundation staff seem to think this anomaly is very dangerous, and the fact that it is very difficult to contain at this point.
Item number: YOS 2227, Object Class Euclid. Containment Procedures: YOS 2227 is to be secured outside 70 with a giant wall surrounding it. No one is to make contact or drink the liquid by any means. YOS 2227-1 instances are to remain in the liquid at all times and prevent them from escaping the lake. Description: YOS 2227 is a purplish lake that contains carbon dioxide, poison. The bottom of the lake is cold at 10 degrees Fahrenheit. It is currently located at Montana. YOS 2227-1 instances are fish-like species with white and red-orange textures on their bodies. They appear to be immune to any substance in the lake. Foundation have contained some of the instances to study it. Their lifespan can go up to 22 years. These fish are slightly aggressive and will slightly throw the poison fluid to any living subject it sees. YOS 1122. Object Class Keter. Containment Procedures: if too much YOS 1122 instances is in their original chamber, they are to be transferred to a different cell by using a machine to hold them. Personnel must clean the cells if too much black substance drops on the floor. The machine is also used to hold the YOS 1122 instances and holding the YOS 1122's eggs to transfer the egg to a different cell. Description: YOS 1122 is a entity currently in baby form. It seems to possess a baby personality, and it seems to be made of black ink, along with a white face with pie eyes and a smiling mouth. It seems to have the ability to continuously produce ink eggs to form a new instance of YOS 1122 for about 1 minute. When someone cuts a piece from YOS 1122, it will still form another instance. YOS 1122 and the instances will regenerate itself to grow its entire body. However, this does not affect the instance and it will still produce eggs, and it does not show signs of pain. Addendum 1122-1. The first YOS 1122 was in the containment chamber producing its first egg. After a few hours, The chamber was full of YOS 1122 instances, so the staff had to do something about it. They built a machine to send the instances to a different chamber. Addendum 1122-2. YOS 1122 were almost filling up a lot of new chambers endlessly. This tired the staff. Addendum 1122-3. The staff were really tired, as they filled all the cells with YOS 1122 instances, until they noticed one of them escaped the cell. The instance produced the eggs, forming more and more instances. The staff had nothing to do about it as the instances slowly filled the whole site. Incident 1122. One YOS 1122 instance escaped its chamber until it started releasing eggs. It slowly filled the whole chamber. The instances exited the site. The staff had to act fast to contain all of them to prevent a worldwide spread. They dropped a few eggs outside until the staff immediately trapped them in a cage. They had no choice but to send them to a different site, which is Site 71. Interview 1122. Agent Restricted entered Dr. Restricted's office, for some reason bringing a YOS 1122 instance with him.
Doctor, we need to talk.
WTF? Why is that YOS 1122 creature here? It's going to fill the office with eggs.
Oh sorry, I'll put it inside an animal cage. Anyway, we need to talk.
About what?
There are honestly too many YOS 1122 instances for us to handle. We kept sending them to different sites and different chambers, but it still kept doing the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah, I saw that. This anomaly, I believe, was about to attempt a XK end of the world scenario.
I think so too. If the anomaly covers this entire planet, it will cause every living thing to suffocate to death, and will possibly make the planet uninhabitable.
That is honestly dangerous. I will ask all personnel to attempt to terminate and neutralize YOS 1122 immediately.
Wait, but YOS 1122 will regenerate and form another one, that will make it worse.
We will do something that doesn't have anything to do with weapons.
End log. YOS 1122's behavior is very close to the Apollon class. If this gets worse, YOS 1122's classification will be reclassified as Apollon. YOS 1122's reclassification to Apollon is pending. It is also caused by YOS 1122-1, an inkwell that forms YOS 1122 instances. Item number: YOS 2437, Object Class: Euclid. Containment Procedures: YOS 2437 is currently uncontained and should be contained immediately. YOS 2437-1 is to be tracked down with an object to follow its every movement. YOS 2437-2 is to not be used if necessary to get either YOS 2437-A or YOS 2437-B. Description: YOS 2437-1 is an ice cream truck with many pictures taped on it. YOS 2437-2 is a humanoid entity with melted skin and a pair of orange and blue clothing. It usually drives YOS 2437-1 around to lure civilians to feed with YOS 2437-A or B. YOS 2437-A is an ice cream cone in which YOS 2437-2 randomly passes out, whether it's with different toppings or different flavors. And YOS 2437-B is a popsicle that YOS 2437-2 also randomly passes out to serve, also picks different flavors. When YOS 2437-2 passes out an instance of YOS 2437-A or B, the victim will most likely have a heart attack and an eternal brain freeze, which will kill the subject. Test 2437. D2437 has been used to test YOS 2437. YOS 2437 approaches D2437 and gives him an instance of YOS 2437-A for $4. D2437 gives the money to YOS 2437-2 and eats it. He suffers a heart attack and dies. Hey guys. Daniel here again, and I will once again tell you another YOS anomaly, which is YOS 4411. Now just a quick warning that this video has some very gross and unsettling imagery, and also some adult stuff. So people must be 18 years or older to watch this video, but if this video gets age restricted, that's not my problem. Let's go. YOS 4411, Object Class, Keter, and Threat Level, Danger. Containment Procedures. YOS 4411 must be kept in a 12 meter by 12 meter humanoid containment cell. Personnel are allowed to clean up YOS 4411's cell by all the fecal waste if one of the professors tells them to. The gas is to be blown away by at least 4 or more air machine fans in order for the anus gas to not be expelled out. In the event of a containment breach from YOS 4411, he is to be found immediately. If he attempts to expel anus gases or feces, the gas is to be blown away to prevent personnel from passing out or terminated. Any YOS 4411-1 instances found is to be terminated immediately. Description. YOS 4411 appears to be a male child, believed to be 6 years of age. He seems to have a weird irritation to hate any type of clothing, and will take them off immediately and instead expose his entire body. He also is capable of expelling gases from his anus, which would terminate and subject whenever it releases from more than 3 meters. YOS 4411 is also capable of using his feces to breach containment, either using fecal weapons and tools, and can also easily escape by using the floor air vents, which is big enough for YOS 4411 to escape through. He also can give birth to instances of YOS 4411-1. YOS 4411-1 instances are species of fecal waste that are actually living organisms, meaning that they have organs. Although they are lacking a skeletal system, they can pollute any area with their gases that will terminate a subject whenever they are from a close distance. If any subject touches YOS 4411-1's surface, they will instantly be absorbed by it, expanding it further. YOS 4411 can also randomly go into his dimension to escape the facility and reappear elsewhere. The dimension is currently designated Dimension/4411. Foundation staff are unable to enter unless for testing purposes. They use D-class personnel to enter his dimension. The dimension produces loud echoes, making it easier to hear where YOS 4411 is located at, and sending him back to containment. Also contains lights that are dim in nature. Whenever YOS 4411 spots a subject, he immediately attacks. Foundation is currently attempting to let YOS 4411 wear red clothing, but he still takes them off without hesitation. Addendum 4411 1. YOS 4411 was discovered on the 12th of April 2020. When his parents were attempting to inflict harm on him, but MTF guards immediately them and sent them to Site 06, which is now destroyed due to YOS 414 breaching containment. YOS 4411 simply refused and attempted to attack, but was forcefully sent to the site. Addendum 4411 2. YOS 4411 somehow breached containment during a containment breach of YOS 414. He attempted to attack and terminate YOS 414 by expelling fecal waste but failed to complete it and was absorbed by YOS 414. It is soon believed that YOS 4411 is immune to any attack by any hostile anomalous entities, and will keep his flesh at bay, and simply resisted YOS 414 ripping the flesh out of him. Therefore, the anomaly was recontained to Site 7. YOS 4411 is immune to any high or low temperatures, even when he is lacking any type of clothing, which means that he ignores any hot and cold temperatures that he is exposed in. He is also infested with different viral infections, which he is also immune to. meaning that the viruses aren't doing any harm to him, also means that YOS 4411 is seemingly indestructible, making it impossible to terminate him. Through X-ray vision, personnel staff notices instances of YOS 4423 inside his anus by using microscopic X-rays. They seem to be passive to YOS 4411. Due to the expelled gases YOS 4411 continuously produces, therefore doesn't attempt to harm YOS 4411 to demand for more gas. They also kill off viral infections whenever they are disturbed, and are immune to the effects of viruses. Addendum 4411, 3. YOS 4411 was tested to terminate YOS 682 for 682 termination attempt 5. When YOS 682 notices YOS 4411, he proceeds to attack him, but YOS 4411 immediately jumped onto YOS 682's body and begins to attack YOS 682 with his fesses. YOS 682 spins around attempting to get YOS 4411 off of it. YOS 4411 slips off and YOS 682 immediately swallows him whole. However, it still doesn't realize that YOS 4411 is still alive. Inside YOS 682's body, he starts gassing up and releasing fecal waste inside as hard as he can to escape its body. YOS 682 begins to become very sick and disgusted as he vomits back up YOS 4411 to the cell. After that YOS 4411 climbs back up YOS 682's body, this time on its mouth. He starts doing fecal waste again, this time birthing YOS 4411-1 instances. The fecal became aggressive and breaks YOS 682's jaw by forming strong bones. YOS 682 roars in pain and now becomes afraid to YOS 4411 and makes no other attempt to attack him. Finally, YOS 4411 climbs up into YOS 682's nose and makes one final fecal attempt. After that, YOS 682 fell unconscious. However, even though YOS 682 lost about 34% its body mass, this didn't terminate the entity, so this termination test was deemed a failure. Addendum 4411, 4. A D-class number D4315 was sent to Dimension/4411 to find YOS 4411. He traveled for an hour until hearing echoes of YOS 4411 gassing, talking and his stomach growling. He talked to the staff and YOS 4411 immediately attacks him. Incident 4411, 1. YOS 4411 was being studied with one of his fesses being experimented while personnel were outside his chamber. While YOS 4411 wasn't being watched, he took off his clothes and escaped by using his dimension and closes the portal immediately. The staff was shocked to see him gone, so they checked the cameras and were immediately looking out to find him. After a while, they reached a town where everything was covered in fecal matter, and people terminated. They believed that YOS 4411 was nearby, but it seems that YOS 4411 already escaped the area. They see more and more individuals covered in fesses, still unable to find YOS 4411, until they found him in South Asia and forcefully putting him in a cell. Although he easily escapes and easily terminated the staff, therefore, he continues his rampage. More staff came and this time put him in an indestructible steel cube, until they sent him back to Side 7. He killed a lot of people worldwide, killing approximately 3,456 million people. In the 13th of June 2021, Dr. was telling the staff that YOS 4411's aggression is really bizarre and very dangerous, and was thinking of permanently terminating YOS 4411. Of course, this was denied because YOS 4411 cannot be terminated in any way. Even during the YOS 682 termination test, he survived against YOS 414 and YOS 682. He was still very much alive. Maybe someday the Foundation will agree and will try to terminate YOS 4411 as soon as possible. Thanks for watching. This was weird and gross, but whatever. I'm glad you made it through that. Anyways, see you guys later. Item number YOS 3721. Containment class Euclid. Disruption class Dark. And risk class Caution. Containment procedures. Under no circumstances are personnel allowed to enter YOS 3721 unless for testing purposes. The entrance to the tunnel is only permitted when a subject holds a camera to be warned by other staff. When YOS 3721 is not being tested, it is to be secured and forbids anyone from entering in. If there is any signs of YOS 3721-A, B, or C instances, they are to exit the tunnel immediately. Description: YOS 3721 appears to be a tunnel of circular shape. Its structure is almost green, with half of it being wood. It is found somewhere in the state of Tennessee. It measures at least 12 meters in diameter, a unfortunate location at about 200 miles inside. It has a small barely spherical hole, primarily known as the 3721 drop point. It also contains anomalous entities inside. YOS 3721-A is an entity currently inhabiting YOS 3721. It is a single sphere that is hostile towards living subjects and will impale them by damaging their eyesight and devouring them with lightning properties. YOS 3721-B is the same entity as YOS 3721-A, although possessing a bluish hue. Like YOS 3721-A, it is hostile, and unlike YOS 3721-A, it will decapitate and eat the subject without any trace. YOS 3721-C is the last entity inhabiting YOS 3721, also another sphere entity that is hostile and will rip out flesh within the victim. Addendum 3721-1. YOS 3721 was discovered on the 15th of April 19. People were missing since 2 weeks. Foundation staff investigated for the civilians, eventually finding YOS 3721, along with traces of blood. One group of staff decided to enter, after traveling for about 3 hours, until finding YOS 3721-A, and they feel like they are in serious danger, so they retreated immediately. YOS 2618, Peanut Bugs. Object Class Euclid. Instances of YOS 2618 are kept in a standard cell with a glass container trapping them. No personnel are to come into contact or eat YOS 2618 instances at all. YOS 2618 are a species of insects that hide in peanuts as a shell. They are sometimes hostile and will bite a subject that attempts to eat them, and then turn the victim into another instance of YOS 2618. There are about 3,000 instances of 2618 currently contained in Site 48. YOS 5403. Secured Signals and Windows. Object Class Keter. YOS 5403 is to be secured in Site 5403 in order for YOS 5403-1 instances to not be free. No one is to enter YOS 5403 unless for testing purposes. YOS 5403 are buildings believed to be made out of sand and sandstone. What is inhabiting it are YOS 5403-1, which are entities also made out of sand, and are aggressive towards living subjects. 5403-A1 is a signal tower that lures YOS 5403-1 to their prey to ambush them, and 5403-A2, another signal tower that informs 5403-1 instances to reconstruct the buildings and make new ones to expand, which makes containment even more difficult. Now what if a balloon was to pop at an extremely loud volume, or balloons will cause fear in people? Well, two anomalies can explain that. because it is time to explain YOS 367 and YOS 3305. YOS 367 is a Euclid anomaly that appears to be a blue balloon. It was prevented to be popped by anything sharp, because if it pops, it will pop at an extremely high volume, like 4,453 decibels. This much decibels would damage a subject's ears, along with blood coming out. There will be so much blood that the subject will eventually die from blood loss. After that, the anomaly will merge and inflate back up by itself. YOS 3305 is a Euclid class anomaly that is a group of colorful balloons. When a subject comes near them, they will hear a voice that tells them that the popping will kill, even though that's not the case. The subject will now have globophobia, refusing to come near any balloons. That is all for now. See you next time. Item number, YOS 1509. Object class, Keter. Containment procedures. Due to its nature, YOS 1509 cannot be contained at this time. When the date is the 11th of September, any city should be warned to avoid YOS 1509's attack from damaging the buildings and collapsing buildings. When the date is the 10th of September, personnel must ready themselves to save as much citizens as they can. MTF Guard must bring special gear to try to contain YOS 1509 as soon as possible, or by containing it in its home area with special equipment and materials. If the entity is successful at destroying the entire city, it must be reported to staff immediately. Description: YOS 1509 is believed to be a mysterious unseen entity of unknown origin. It is always dormant for the entire year, except for one of the days. It only activates during the 11th of September and becomes aggressive at populated areas like cities. On the 11th of September, 2001, a city was destroyed by 19 hijackers using machinery to destroy tall buildings. It is currently unknown if this caused YOS 1509 to exist. YOS 1509 is normally unable to be seen due to possibly being invisible to the naked eye, or by faster speeds, and it's impossible to keep track of it if it is active and aggressive. It can only be seen by camera footage or night vision goggles. Researchers believed it reaches speed about 4.5 km per hour, and cannot be paused by any material it encounters with. Addendum 1509-1. The area where YOS 1509 is normally dormant is a cave located at North Carolina. After it destroyed at least 20 buildings, it returns to its cave and go into a hibernation state until next year. After the clock reaches 11:59 p.m., it will sit down until reaching 10:59 p.m., and then lay down and close its eyes, and its heart goes into rest mode until 11:59 p.m. is reached. It has been known to only activate on the 11th of September every year from 12 p.m. to 11:59 p.m. Addendum 1509-2. Once it's 12 p.m., its heart started pumping and YOS 1509 enters an aggressive state and starts to go wrecking cities it sees. Incident 1509A. The entire cave that YOS 1509 is hibernating is entirely blocked with metallic objects to prevent it from escaping, and by using lifetime cameras in case something goes wrong, and the staff went back to site. After the clock reaches 12 p.m., YOS 1509 activates, and easily broke through the metal, and failed. Approximately 20 cities were destroyed by 2 United States buildings according to Foundation staff.
Item number: YOS 5036. Object class: Keter. Containment procedures. The forest that YOS 5036 instances are located at is to be blocked from entering. Any entity that attempts to enter the area must be terminated immediately. No fewer than 5 MTF Unit 6 guards are to enter the forest at any time. Any YOS 5036 instances that completely infected the MTF Unit 6 guards must be completely terminated. Any signs of a YOS 5036-1 instance outside the area must be sent out into it using a single catapult. Any entity that are under the effects of YOS 5036-1 must be incinerated to prevent the effects from proceeding. Every October 31st, Individuals must be not within 3 meters of the area to prevent the YOS 5036-1 infection from spreading. Description: YOS 5036 are humanoid entities that measure 6.5 meters tall. They possess a pale white skin tone and wears a red tie black tuxedo with a pair of shoes. They lack most facial features except with a nose and mouth. The nature of YOS 5036 is currently classified, as it poses a considerable threat to all life forms. Once an instance has spotted a certain organism, it will start to attack it. Some life forms are unable to outrun YOS 5036 instances, as they easily outrun every life form. Once an organism is caught, they are killed immediately with possible blunt force. Surveillance cameras show an instance of YOS 5036 sending the victim's body to a certain location of the forest, and shows it mysteriously releasing green vines out of the body, and letting them go to let it spread throughout the entire body. After this process is complete, it will alter the body into a single pumpkin. These are known as YOS 5036-1. Drones show YOS 5036 sending the pumpkin to another specific location, and will leave it there for a certain amount of days. After a couple days, the pumpkin carved itself into a face similar to a jack-o'-lantern. The pumpkin will periodically form instances of YOS 5036 continuously. YOS 5036-1 instances were spread to almost every area in the forest, and were sent to a cave that YOS 5036 specimens rest in, and sometimes appear outside the forest. YOS 5036 desires to hunt down prey during the night, and will wander around the forest until finding a specific target. During the day, they stay in the cave and do something inside the cave until sunset. Addendum 5036-1. There were missing reports of certain children, specifically Andrew, Lewis, etc. And many parents and guardians were seen worried about the incident. Multiple Foundation staff members sent the parents to Site 02 to talk about it. A young Caucasian woman named was sent to Site 02 for answers. She seemed worried about her own kid, apparently named Andrew, and she showed a video of her talking to him.
Okay, Andrew, you will go trick-or-treating with your friend, but I will let you go by yourself, but remember to be safe, okay?
Yes, Mother, I will be cautious about this.
Okay, good luck.
After the conversation, she said he was gone for about 4 hours, and she was worried about it. She was sent out later on. It has later been confirmed that he was killed by YOS 5036. Addendum 5036-2. The forest was investigated by MTF Unit 6 to find the cause of the disappearances of children. And they searched for 3 minutes until finding a YOS 5036 specimen, which was quickly terminated after. For another 3 minutes, they found a single YOS 5036-1 specimen. It seemed to be forming a specimen of YOS 5036. It was destroyed. A single specimen of YOS 5036 was contained and sent to Area 31 for testing purposes. Incident 5036. After the retrieving of a YOS 5036 specimen, it was doing something the staff didn't know before. It was destroying the chamber and easily breached containment. It was unable to be stopped due to its immense speed and strength. It was eventually stunned by expert MTF Unit 66 members. Addendum 5036-3. Testing log YOS 5036. Tested. YOS 5036. Subjects: YOS 4052, YOS 6705, YOS 2646. 3 anomalies are placed into YOS 5036's chamber. The specimen started to attack. YOS 4052 started lunging towards it but was immediately killed. 2 other life forms attempted to attack but didn't hit it, and their bodies were altered into YOS 5036-1 specimens.
Item number: YOS 4857. Object class: Keter. Containment procedures: YOS 4857 is to be contained in a 3-meter cubed cell no less than 4 meters thick. Any hostile action coming from YOS 4857 must be stunned. No one is to make contact with YOS 4857 by any means necessary. If this happens, YOS 4857 must be stunned by a firearm immediately. At this time, there is no known way of terminating YOS 4857. Description: YOS 4857 is a wild turkey that has the ability to resist any attempt of attacks and cannot be killed in any known way. The specimen is hostile to any organisms that attempt to kill it, and will do whatever it can to kill the organism. It is strong enough to destroy any hard surfaces. YOS 4857 has also been able to keep its flesh at bay, and prevents any organism from cutting into it. Its most preferred prey is humans. As individuals attempt to kill the bird to serve it for Thanksgiving, it will use any part of its body to kill the human as much as it can. Addendum 4857-1. YOS 4857 came to the Foundation's attention when it killed a single specimen of horned rattlesnake. It was then captured later on and sent to Site 13. Item number: YOS 1497. Object Class: Keter. Containment Procedures: YOS 1497 is to be stored within a case accompanied by aluminum foil wrapper. Its effects must be paused when out of sight. No one is to make contact with YOS 1497 by any means necessary. If a subject makes physical contact with YOS 1497, they must be restrained and removed from the chamber. Personnel must be 10 miles away from YOS 1497's containment area. If a subject is inflicted with the effects of YOS 1497, they must be treated with Class E amnestics. If YOS 1497 is out of its cell, it must be tracked and sent back. Description: YOS 1497 is a row of cooked ham, approximately 18 slices released. Researchers believe that it existed about 17 years ago, since November 12, 19. It seems to have a very manipulative effect on subjects who come near it. When a subject is within 2 to 4 meters of YOS 1497, they will get the sudden urge to eat it whole, and will show signs of saliva coming out of their mouths. When the subject is not in direct contact with YOS 1497, they will still attempt to do whatever they can to get the item and eat it. They will start to track it by smelling it. Subjects will react violently when their needs are not met with the item. Addendum 1497-1. After its containment in 1935, D-7402 was sent to the chamber of the item. Subject was ordered to eat the item to test its minimum effects. After he took a little bite, he instantly reacted to the taste and immediately started to take multiple bites at it. Subject was quickly removed from the cell. As of 1942, personnel within 10 miles of its area are infected with its properties. All infected members had to be terminated prior to the incident. Addendum 1497-2. On May 23, a researcher recorded an audio log of him wanting to eat the item YOS 1497. It was retrieved to Site 17 for observation.
Hi, have you seen my good food? I'm starving over here. I haven't experienced anything that is that delicious, so I want more of this loving stuff. I swear if I don't get my hands on that ham, I'ma flip out. So whoever finds that delicious ham, please bring it to me.
Item number: YOS 1736. Object Class: Euclid. Containment Procedures: YOS 1730 SIXS chamber is to be entered twice a week. Any signs of YOS 1736 missing must be detected and sent back to the chamber. Personnel requested to encounter YOS 1736 must give it some thankful quotes to prevent its disappearance from occurring. Personnel must not attempt to eat YOS 1736 by any means necessary, and signs of a chunk of YOS 1730 SIXS structure bitten off by a subject must be found and terminated immediately. If the entire structure of YOS 1736 is completely devoured, subjects affected by it must be given antibiotics to prevent the infection process from finishing. The whiteboard must be facing YOS 1736 at all times as requested by Dr. Description: YOS 1736 is a single Thanksgiving turkey served onto a plastic white plate accompanied by various consumable items. It has been known that it has existed after the completion of the first day of Thanksgiving. Despite many years passing, YOS 1736 never shows signs of decomposition in other foods, as it still remains fresh. YOS 1736 has the ability of containing its heat when it has been cooked in an oven, and resists any other temperatures from affecting it. It seems to have a fatal effect when eaten. If a subject attempts to consume YOS 1736 entirely, they will suffer from a fatal infection that lasts for 3 to 4 days. After that time, their body will alter into a new instance of YOS 1736 and take on the same abilities as the previous one. YOS 1736 is also known to transport itself to random parts of multiple buildings if not being thanked by an individual. If a subject is thankful to the specimen, it will not transport somewhere for a minimum of 5 to 6 hours. Addendum 1736-1. After its containment on the 15th of June, 18, it was sent to Site 09 to be tested. D6069 was sent to its chamber to take a bite of the item. D6069 then begins to experience the side effects from the food, though this proved to not be fatal. Addendum 1736-2. D2230 was sent to YOS 1730 SIXS chamber to devour the whole item. After this, he began to experience side effects from the item, and turned into a second instance of YOS 1736. Addendum 1736-3. YOS 1736 was reported missing from its cell, and was tracked down by MTF Unit 28. It was in a young woman's home sitting in the kitchen counter, and was sent back to the facility. Addendum 1736-4. YOS 1736 was seen with a sticky note pasted on its structure. It read, "If you don't want this item to disappear, you have to be thankful to it." So D7663 was sent to its cell to be thankful to it, and it didn't transport for a couple hours. Addendum 1736-5. Dr. was inside the cell bringing a whiteboard inside, and make sure to always be facing YOS 1736. He then wrote a note to face the item. It says,
"I am thankful for this delicious fresh turkey. Along with other foods, I can simply look at it all day if I want to. I wouldn't try to eat it as I'm never hungry, but thanks for this delicious food."
Item number YOS 004. Object Class Euclid. Containment Procedures. Object is to be kept in a closed container with a temperature of 4 degrees Celsius. No one is to let YOS 004 out of its container. Doing so will result in a termination. The container must be cleaned twice a week if approved by MTF staff. Under no circumstances is YOS 004 being tested unless with explicit permission. If the temperatures are above 4 degrees Celsius, it must be drained down to a stable temperature. If a subject devours the cereal, the cell must be in lockdown. Description: YOS 004 is a bowl filled with a cereal that resembles Reese's Puffs. It is a cereal with circular peanut butter flavoring. They seem to have a minor effect when eaten. If a subject consumes it, they will experience psychological damage. The subject might feel their body burning from the inside, in which acid must have formed inside. Their body temperature will increase. They will cough out liters of acid, and will have lungs closed tight, in which subjects are unable to breathe. Subjects will mostly die from the experience, and will eventually disintegrate completely. The reason for these effects is currently unknown. YOS 004's effect can be paused by suddenly low levels of temperature. If below 4 degrees Celsius, it will freeze the effects easily and won't affect the subject when in this state. Despite the expiration date present on the bowl, it won't experience expiration and won't decompose. YOS 004 has also been shown to disrupt people's minds, and often leads them to commit suicide on several occasions. Addendum 004-1. YOS 004 was discovered in an abandoned store in Michigan on May 17, 1997. Agent was inside the store when suddenly he sees a bowl of Reese's Puffs and its box is open. He took it back to Site 07 to test it out to make sure it's not expired. When brought to the researchers, they decided to eat the cereal as if nothing's going to happen and they were just hungry. But one of the researchers experienced the anomalous effects of the cereal and became dead. The cereal was sent to a cell to keep it away from anyone else. Addendum 004-2. Testing log YOS 004. Subject: D7081. Begin log. D7081 was sent inside the cell.
Alright D7081, please open the fridge.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
He approaches.
Do I open this?
Yes, please proceed.
D7081 opens the fridge and takes out YOS 004.
Now please eat this delicious cereal for breakfast.
That's it. I mean, I am feeling a little hungry, so I might as well.
D7081 eats the cereal. After a long silence, D7081 felt slight pain in his chest. He was complaining about seeing some type of decomposing acid inside his stomach. The pain becomes so unbearable that D7081 had to commit suicide in order to not feel that same type of pain ever again. End log. Item number: YOS 023. Object class: Euclid. Containment procedures: the area, designated as YOS 023-1, is to be blocked access by any unauthorized personnel. Staff that are over level 3 and higher are to be allowed access with permission. Personnel are to be equipped with a walkie-talkie, a camera, and a microphone. Personnel that gained contact with instances of YOS 023-2 are to immediately evacuate. D-Class personnel that are put on death row are to be put into YOS 023 and terminated by YOS 023-2. Description: YOS 023 consists of two components. YOS 023-1 is an abandoned town located in the far reaches of Alabama. It shows no signs of disrepair and decay, and the area is completely devoid of any residents. YOS 023 can be accessed by people with reality-bending machinery. When the subject enters, they will be stuck in this area until finding an exit. YOS 023's exact measurement is currently unknown, as it stretches at an incredible distance, almost if it goes on infinitely. YOS 023-2 instances are a horde of human civilians holding potentially dangerous weaponry. They show signs of aggression and will go after visitors if they come into contact with them. Instances often emit a loud roar when attacking. They will stop this if the target is killed. Addendum 023-1. YOS 023 was discovered when a certain citizen suddenly went missing, and was tracked down by MTF Unit 67, leading to YOS 023. Personnel then secured the abandoned town, and scientists created a machine that allows them to access the town easier. Addendum 023-2. During its research, several Site-09 personnel were killed by instances of YOS 023-2. The following targets were: Agent Francois, Agent Gerald, Agent Franklin, Agent Katie, Agent Harry, and Agent Jackson. And that was YOS 023 everyone. Thanks to Roma for requesting this YOS I've already made. See you later for the next anomaly. Item number: YOS 1010. Object class: Euclid. Containment procedures: YOS 1010 is to be put on Marine Watch and to be tracked with a Marine Watch detection drone. Any signs of anomalous activity coming from YOS 1010 should be reported to Marine Watch staff immediately. Description: YOS 1010 is a marine life form with some similarities to a species of shark, but only measures 8 meters long. It doesn't seem to have teeth, and some large eyes similar to human. Its structure is mostly hard when the Foundation discovered it before releasing it back into the ocean. Anytime YOS 1010 gets attacked by a predatory life form, it can defend itself by thickening its stone structures to prevent being attacked and possibly devoured. It can also partner with other shark species if it wants to. In the event when it experiences starvation, it can attack any life form it sees. When it finds its target, it will quickly catch them with its mouth despite it having no teeth, but life forms will somehow feel the subject's strong teeth as if it's invisible. Upon catching its prey, it will inject a strong acid from within its mouth tissue, and will kill its prey within 2 to 3 minutes, and will now devour the target completely. Foundation staff will only look after YOS 1010 when it brings more anomalous activity in the near future. Addendum 1010. YOS 1010 only seems to have one member of the species. If this singular member of the species dies years later and becomes extinct, YOS 1010 will be classified as neutralized until further notice. That was YOS 1010 everyone, thanks to the person that requested this anomaly. If you want to see another one, request in the comments below. See you next time. Item number YOS 666. Containment class. Keter. Disruption class. Amuta. Risk class. Critical. Containment procedures. YOS 666 is to be confined in a containment cell 12 miles beneath, currently being held in place with complex anomalous machinery in order to cancel all of YOS 666's anomalous activities coming from it. Any signs of damage from the machine caused by YOS 666 is to be immediately repaired to prevent a containment breach. If the machine is not repaired on time, YOS 666 is to be immediately found and to be prohibited to use its abilities as soon as possible. As of right now, it is currently difficult to keep YOS 666 in containment for long periods of time, due to its impossible anomalous properties. No other containment procedures are necessary at this time. Description: YOS 666 is a demonic colorful humanoid entity that possesses purple, yellow, blue, and pink clothing and skin. It shows very sharp teeth and its forehead seems to be melting for unknown reasons. YOS 666 is capable of speech, speaks in clear English, and will only speak whenever it kills a target or taunts it. YOS 666 is known to have multiple anomalous properties that it uses constantly. It can levitate, transport, summon lightning, telekinesis. It can also remove a living organism from existence if it chooses, and rip up its surroundings completely, and summon fire from the ground. YOS 666's properties can be stunned with some potentially complex machinery, and will become inactive in a certain amount of hours or days. How YOS 666 came into existence is currently unknown, but it is assumed it has been formed around billions of years ago after the universe formed. Addendum: YOS 666 was found by MTF Unit 69 when it killed 2 members. MTF Unit 69 was quickly killed off and YOS 666 transported to a different part of the world. Addendum 2. YOS 666 was found by a quite complex MTF unit numbered 75. The unit was able to completely stun YOS 666 for days by using a complex machine with lasers. It was contained shortly after. Audio caught from YOS 666.
Do you mortals think that you could keep me stuck down here for days? Well, unfortunately, this will never happen. I will find a way to get out of this hell, and I will simply kill everyone who is involved in this. See you in a bit, mortals. Ha 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 ha.
That was YOS 666 everyone, thanks to the person that requested this anomaly. If you want to see another one, request in the comments below. See you next time. Item number YOS 041. Object Class Euclid. Containment Procedures. YOS 041 is to be kept in a 5-meter cell at all times. No one is to approach YOS 041 within 8 meters. In the case that YOS 041 shows starvation, it is to be fed a live animal within 2 to 5 hours. Description: YOS 041 is a humanoid entity, with devil horns, and with colors of purple, yellow, blue, and pink for skin and clothes. It stands at 4 meters tall with a weight of 250 pounds. It gains more weight if more nutrients are added. It shows signs of endless hunger and will find any type of food source that is edible. It can even try to devour a source of food while the subject is still alive. If the subject is able to reach the victim within 8 meters, it will immediately devour the victim whole and swallow it with no health issues. It will gain a bunch of weight when the subject is completely devoured. Note: by the time YOS 041 was discovered, it only gained 87 pounds. And by the time of this file being created, it now weighed 250 pounds. It will keep growing its weight by this time. It is unknown if YOS 041 will eventually get diabetes and sometime later will experience death. The possibility of it being immune and immortal is very much likely by many staff. That was YOS 041 everyone, thanks to the person that requested this anomaly. If you want to see another one, request in the comments below. See you next time. Item number: YOS 1061. Object Class: Safe. Threat Level: Passive. Containment Procedures: YOS 1061 is to remain within its current location, with the door completely locked with security measures around it. Personnel are allowed to enter the room with permission. Description: YOS 1061 is a 6-meter bathtub, with a faucet on its rear end. It remains inactive when the subject is not present in the room. When a subject does enter the room, it will activate its faucet within 2 to 3 minutes, and pour water until the water reaches a certain peak of height, and will deactivate the faucet soon after. It will also block the drain to keep the water from draining out. If the subject decides to get in the water, they will eventually notice the refreshing effects of the water, and will eventually make the subject extremely clean without any soap. The subject will now remain clean for long periods of time and won't get dirty during the time. When the person leaves the room, the drain will be unblocked and the water will drain out, and wait until another comes in the room. Addendum: here are the tests of subjects interacting with YOS 1061. Dr. Harrison. Harrison went in the tub, and is immediately clean and will remain that way for 10 to 13 hours. YOS 1163. The subject was placed into the room, and interacted with YOS 1061, and remained clean to rarely remain clean for 17 to 20 days. YOS 900. The subject was placed into the room, and interacted with it. She remained clean within 15 to 25 days. A male duck. The subject was placed into the bathroom. After wandering around for a while, it entered the tub, and was cleaned up just like the other human subjects. YOS 1061's affects humans and animals, and will make sure to make them clean as soon as possible until further notice. Item number: YOS 056. Object Class: Euclid. Containment Procedures: YOS 056 is to be saved into the secret files of the online Foundation site page. No one is to maintain direct contact with YOS 056 within long periods of time. Anyone who's been exposed to observing the object for too long is to be sent to a mental health room in Site 44. The picture is to be locked to prevent low-level personnel from accessing the file. Description: YOS 056 is a 2048 by 20 image featuring all types of disturbing faces that is meant to induce paranoia to people. The date it was created is unknown, and the creator who made the image is unknown at this time. It possesses mind-turning effects on people when they gain contact with it for long periods of time. If long-time exposure is made to the subject, they will show signs of paranoia and fear, and make sure to not see the picture again. But at this time, it induces hallucinations to the infected subject, and they will catch glimpses of similar faces watching them. After about several minutes, it will eventually kill the subject with unknown force. Personnel tried to see what killed these subjects, but the footage was cut off and the subject was dead with no assailant on site. Addendum: YOS 056 brought attention to the image when several people died and got paranoia upon seeing the image. Sometime later the image was nowhere to be seen in the Google Images. The Foundation found it via security means and placed it in the secured folder to prevent more incidents from happening. That was YOS 1061 and YOS 056 everyone, thanks to the 2 people that requested these anomalies. If you want to see another one, request in the comments below. See you next time. Oh, and also, I know you weren't expecting for 2 requested anomalies. I do this because I would get more time to make more videos, and if you want 2 anomalies done, request that. Anyways, see you in the next video. Item number YOS 066. Object Class Euclid. Containment Procedures. YOS 066 is to be within a 5 meter by 5 meter by 5 meter by 5 meter steel cube with no openings available or any other views inside. There are to be no surveillance cameras within the cube in order to not trigger its state. Personnel are to use special equipment to make sure YOS 066 is still within the cube. Any type of action that will trigger YOS 066's state, like video footage, direct contact, and a single photo, are strictly prohibited, and the photographs are to be placed in a secret folder. Any signs of anomalous activity coming from within the cube is to be reported immediately. Description: YOS 066 is a 5-meter-tall humanoid-like figure with canine-like features, including 3-meter-long ears, a tail about 5 meters, with purple fur, and yellow skin. With facial features like pink eyes, a blue nose, and pink spots on its snout, and last with clothing like green trousers with suspenders with pink buttons, and blue gloves and shoes. It shows signs of low intelligence, shows weak muscles, although still capable of dealing harm to subjects, and its arms are extremely long, measuring 6 meters long. It is capable of opening its jaw to 7 meters than any other living subjects. It's not considered to be sapient due to low functions of the brain. When it's not triggered, it's in its docile state, beginning to emit soft sobbing sounds, and usually paces to the corner of the left wall. It is shown to be extremely shy, and tries to ignore and stay away from any living subject as possible. When direct contact is made with YOS 066's face, the subject is referred to as YOS 066-1. After minutes of contact, it will show severe emotional distress, and eventually go into its hostile state, and will start screaming incoherently. After several minutes, it will start tracking down a presumed victim. Long distances from YOS 066-1 doesn't seem to affect YOS 066 in any way. It somehow senses the location of YOS 066-1. No object that is capable of stopping YOS 066 from reaching its target is successful at doing so. Upon arriving at YOS 066-1's location, it will ruthlessly attack, kill, and YOS 066-1. It will 100% leave no other traces of YOS 066-1 other than the blood it caused. After minutes of the assassination of the YOS 066-1 victim, it will go back to its docile state after 3 more minutes. It will then attempt to go back to its original pacing location. Only a specific number of agents are to retrieve YOS 066 back to its container, and to place an object on its face to not cause another outbreak. Dr. Frankfurt started clarifying that YOS 066 is to be terminated as soon as possible due to its reckless and unstoppable behavior, also because many people kept looking at a picture of it. The O7 Council denied this request, and will accept this request in the near future if they specifically see the entity possess more capabilities. Addendum 01. AD class numbered 8506 was sent to a tall building suspended off ground from 36 feet up in the air. He was requested to look at a picture of YOS 066 and draw it on a piece of blank paper. Apparently, a drawn illustration of YOS 066 does not provoke the effects of the entity. After the request was complete, he was ordered to send the paper to the Site 13 facility by using a type of mail sender. After several hours, YOS 066 breached containment and sprinted to the location of D8506. It leaped up 36 feet off the ground and broke in the interior and terminated D8506. Addendum 02. In May 21, 1956, staff seemed to notice the activity within the cube. After hours of witnessing this, the cube broke apart and immediately deterred the staff to look away. This was eventually leading to the staff telling the O7 Council and adding more containment procedures to the entity. This was later confirmed. That was YOS 066 everyone, thanks to the person that requested this anomaly. If you want to see another one, request in the comments below. See you next time. Item number YOS 057. Object Class Euclid. Containment Procedures. YOS 057 is to be kept in a 7-meter container with soundproof glass surrounding the inner area. Interacting with YOS 057 is not to be attempted unless for testing purposes, and personnel shouldn't be within the soundproof interior by any means. Description: YOS 057 is a humanoid entity resembling a large canine with purplish fur, yellow skin, pink eyes and blue nose, wears gloves and shoes, green pants with suspenders, and lacking a tail. The entity stands up at 5 feet, and weighs 25 pounds. YOS 057 affects nearby subjects within a 3-mile radius by emitting a noise very deeply. Upon this happening, subjects will report feeling something inside their bodies. YOS 057 will repeatedly emit this noise, making the weird feeling inside the body feel even worse. Once the noise goes off from the entity 8 to 10 times, the subject explodes 3 seconds later with no traces found within the body. YOS 057 will remain in a docile state within 11 to 16 hours. Addendum 01. YOS 057 was found in an undisclosed place, and it was known that an unnamed person once inhabited the place. It was taken in Site 09 for examination. Addendum 02. In May 4, 1997, D8790 was taken in YOS 057's chamber and interacted with the entity. The subject reported the feeling in his body, and soon exploded after the 9th emitted noise YOS 057 made. There were no traces of the subject in the area. That was YOS 057 everyone, thanks to the person that requested this anomaly. If you want to see another one, request in the comments below. See you next time. Item number YOS 013. Object Class Safe. Containment Procedures. YOS 013 is kept in a 5-meter humanoid cell. She is allowed to leave her cell within 5 to 8 hours. After the limit of hours is up, she must be placed back in the cell accompanied by MTF Unit 08. The field must be under observation until another entity gains the abilities like the subject. Description: YOS 013 is a 5 feet tall humanoid female with yellowish skin, pinkish eyes, eyelashes, pink horns, and eyebrows, purple hair, green dress, pink bow tie, bluish gloves, and shoes. Subject claims to be 21 years old and seems to have a calm personality. She has multiple abilities she uses sometimes, including manipulation, strength, summons lightning, glowing, and the rising of sharp material. She claims she got these skills when being on a specific field during the night. She often uses these abilities when she's in danger, or if someone else is in danger, so she protects the specific victim and kills the attacker. She is also able to speak in full sentences in English. An interview was planned with her. Addendum 013. 1. YOS 013 was found in a field after gaining her abilities. She was brought to Site 03 for questioning. Addendum 013. 2. YOS 013 was sent in the interview room to give out answers about how she got these abilities. Begin log.
Hello YOS 013.
Alice Hermes, please.
Okay Alice, we saw you in some random field, and you seem to have some interesting abilities. Is there a reason why you have these?
No clue, I just went into a field and I have unusual skills now.
Do you think it had something to do with the field?
I'm not sure if the field had anything to do with this, but it could be a possibility.
Well, we currently are looking after the field you once been on. We'll keep on with this discussion if it works, so we'll keep you updated as soon as possible.
Whatever you say, Doctor.
End log. Addendum 013. 3. AD class was sent to the field and remained there for hours, until a strange plasma beam landed on him. The subject doesn't show signs of pain whatsoever, and gained the same skills as YOS 013. He is currently classified as YOS 013. B note.
The field somehow can pass the anomalous abilities to anyone who enters that specific field. It seems that the plasma holds on some elements to make up some action and pass it on to others. The field will be designated as YOS 013A. Until more information is needed.
Item number. YOS 310. Object Class. Euclid. Containment Procedures. The area, designated as Containment Area B1, is to be blocked by approaching civilians. Anyone who tries to reside in the area is to be halted and remind them to stay away from the area. Once a week, YOS 310 is to be checked out outside the interior of the area, and any activity shown from YOS 310 is to be reported immediately. No one is to make contact with YOS 310 for more than 15 minutes. The timing must be acquired by test subjects, D-class personnel, and researchers. When the timing reaches its endpoint, personnel are to leave the area no more than 3 minutes. If a subject remains in the interior with YOS 310 for more than 3 minutes, the exterior must be protected at all times until the activation of YOS 310 reaches its end. Personnel are requested to not be within YOS 310's proximity until its activation ends, or personnel are to be terminated when YOS 310's activation becomes strong. Once the activation ends, personnel who survived have to evacuate and must be sent to a mental watchover facility near Containment Area B1, and personnel who didn't survive must have their remains incinerated within a furnace in the mental watchover facility. Description: YOS 310, in appearance, is a presumed humanoid entity made up of gaseous matter. Its appearance appears to be shadowed, and is constantly ejecting some sort of darkened gas that doesn't seem to affect the subject within close proximity. YOS 310 appears to be hostile towards any human subject it comes into contact with. If the subject reaches its target, it will release a huge cloud of black smoke that spreads on a 2-mile radius that is meant to cover up its attack. Due to its darkness, human beings cannot see the attack it's doing to the victim, and on rare occasions, can suffer mild blindness. When the smoke clears, the subject will be inert, and die within 2 minutes. YOS 310 will then enter a dormant state that is timed between 4 to 13 hours. Randomly, YOS 310 is capable of changing its shape and taking the form of any human being, although it is always unaware what human being it is taking the form of. Its most common form is a Caucasian human female, probably 25 years of age, and wears a suit that is mostly worn when going to a beach, colored into a dark shade of blue, and possesses dark brown long hair, sometimes black. YOS 310, when it took the form of the woman, begins acting like a normal human, and will act like one in the beach, specifically Containment Area B1 it currently resides in. If it comes into contact with a human subject, it will try to convince the subject to hang out with it. If successful, it will let the subject hang out with it for more than 15 minutes. After the limit of time is reached, it will change back to its original form, and terminate the subject while releasing a large cloud of black smoke in order to prevent other humans from viewing or protecting the victim within its proximity. YOS 310 will repeat this process by entering a dormant state for 4 to 13 hours. And then take the form of the woman once again until finding another human. When YOS 310 takes this form, it can speak in clear complete sentences, identified as English, in a feminine tone, although it is incapable of speech when in its original form. See Addendum 310-2. YOS 310 has not been observed taking other forms other than a beach woman, almost like it prefers taking the form of a woman, because human males will be easier to control, and females will most likely hang out with it.
Note: it seems that the subject are not trying to deny YOS 310's request. There could be a possibility that the anomaly takes over the brain of the subjects and force them to hang out with it. I would recommend that we not gain contact with YOS 310 constantly, and it must be fed once every 5 days.
Addendum 310-1. YOS 310 was discovered when people mysteriously disappeared in a specific beach. MTF Unit 68 went to investigate, until they found an empty beach with a shadow-type figure inhabiting it. When they saw it, they immediately called the containment team and secured it. They surrounded the beach originally with a barbed wire fence, but was immediately replaced with an airtight steel wall. See Incident 310. Addendum 310-2. Dr. went into the area and was requested to try to talk to YOS 310 and leave within 15 minutes.
Hello YOS 310.
Whoa, where did you get that name?
We don't know your actual name, so we came up with it.
Well, I don't like that. Call me Jessica.
Okay Jessica. I have a few questions for you.
Ask me whatever you like.
We saw you turn into a shadowy figure and we assume that you kill people, is that true?
I don't know what you're talking about, sweetie.
Giggles softly.
I just greet them with a hug, that's all.
But when the smoke cleared, the person was torn to bits, and didn't seem to show any movement.
I guess you can say I got a little carried away.
Giggles softly again.
I guess I have anger problems.
Yeah, I guess you can say that, but you do seem hostile when you approach them, but I won't question it any further.
I just need to check my emotions.
Well, I got to go now. Thanks for bringing me here.
Alright, bye.
Closing statement. Dr. returned back to the exterior without incident, and managed to get out in 2 minutes and 35 seconds. It seems that YOS 310 was grateful that it allowed Dr. to leave, and was not controlling him when they communicated. Incident 310. AD Class 8705 went in the area and interacted with YOS 310 for more than 15 minutes. The subject then changed its form and attacked the D class. The large cloud of black smoke covered everything within a 2-mile radius. This smoke caused mild blindness to personnel nearby, and most of the civilians nearby in a close city. After the D class was terminated, the fence was replaced with an airtight steel wall that surrounds the beach to hopefully block the smoke from spreading, except for the back of the beach that reaches the ocean. It is unknown if the smoke affects marine animals as well. Addendum 310-3. Dr. Derek requested that YOS 310 will need to interact with other passive YOS anomalies, like YOS 1163, YOS 432, YOS 1442, and YOS 2097, but this was denied. That was YOS 310 everyone, thanks to the person that requested this anomaly. If you want to see another one, request in the comments below. See you next time. Item number. YOS 103. Object Class. Euclid. Containment Procedures. YOS 103 is to remain in a 135-meter container with the ceiling not needed in order for it to completely fit in the cell as Site-96. The subject must be incapacitated when it shows hostility, and provided with recently deceased organisms to put in its dormant state at all times. No one is to enter the container when YOS 103 is feeding on the organisms, and should wait for 2 to 3 hours for it to finish. If its feast is complete, the entity is allowed to be studied. Description: YOS 103 is a large potentially sentient entity that takes the appearance of a common toilet found in bathrooms/restrooms. It is 65 feet tall, and its beak is 98 meters wide. It has an electrical sense of sight, and is shown displaying a robotic type of eyes that allows it to see its surroundings. On the edges of the lid of the toilet entity is a row of razor-sharp teeth. They can easily tear through an organism's flesh and also are capable of tearing them in half. It also has elastic limbs that function as arms and legs. Inside the entity, there doesn't seem to be any water that is always present in toilets. Instead, an acid, identified as gastric acid, is present inside YOS 103. Subject is also very hostile, and will go after its specified victim and use every part of its body to terminate them. It will use its enlarged foot to crush them to death, pick them up and devour them with its teeth, and simply pour gastric acid on them until it completely strips away all of the victim's flesh. The subject will be in its dormant state when a source of meat from recently deceased organisms is eaten when present. The subject can be easily incapacitated. It feels harm when a subject uses the flusher to push back the gastric acid, which causes harm to YOS 103, and it will eventually lose consciousness. It will regain consciousness within a minimum of 3 to 10 hours. Addendum. Due to its size, testing is not to be attempted. That was YOS 103 everyone, thanks to the person that requested this anomaly. If you want to see another one, request in the comments below. See you next time. Item number YOS 552. Object Class Keter. Containment Procedures. YOS 552 is to be within an 8-meter humanoid cell on all 4 sides. If she attempts to escape the cell, she must be incapacitated immediately and return back to the area. She must be provided with a rather decorated adult-like room. The room must require a king-sized bed with a flower-patterned bedsheet, with cotton pillows, and a wooden bed frame. A wooden closet that keeps additional clothing that must look the same all the time. A small bathroom with a sink and shower, and also must come with lotion and hairspray. A dresser with a mirror on top, and must be accompanied with multiple perfume containers that must be acceptable to her, a eyelash comb and a hairbrush. And must be accompanied by pink lipsticks, and even Kiss of Death lipsticks, later designated as YOS 321 instances, if necessary. She must be given food within 4 to 8 hours a day. YOS 552 is to be interviewed with caution, and personnel should not make eye contact with her for more than 6 minutes. Her interaction with other YOS subjects must be limited between 6 to 10 hours. Description: YOS 552 is a female humanoid that stands at 1.5 meters tall. She is also 5 feet tall. She possesses yellowish skin, with purple hair with a pink glowing halo and pink horns on it. She has pink eyes with eyelashes that measure 9 millimeters long, and with pink eyebrows, a pink mole and pinkish lips. She wears a green outfit that somewhat resembles a flapper dress, and a sweater, but she is mostly seen with her green cloth covering almost near her chest and most of her breasts, and with strings attached to the torso part of the cloth that covers most of her lower part of her arms. She also wears blue gloves and shoes, and stitched a pink bow tie on the upper central part of her dress. YOS 552 is capable of speech, but commonly prefers not to speak unless she finds something appeasing to her, or if she is annoyed by something distracting her from her goals. YOS 552's behavior depends on her actions she does when eye contact with an organism/object is made to her. She can be seen as kind of nice, and is often cooperative with other subjects she doesn't find as a victim. It is seen that YOS 229 and YOS 552 do not seem to despise each other, and kind of see each other as partners or siblings. See Addendum 552-1. She can be seen as manipulative, and often sees subjects as appeasing to her, and will try to interact with them to her benefit. If eye contact is made, she will leap to the subject, now turned victim, and kiss the victim with skin contact in a random part of the body, and will cause each vital organ within the subject to cease functioning, presumably killing them. YOS 552 will repeat this action if she finds a suitable subject she finds acquirable. Addendum 552-1. Full exploration for YOS 552's containment. Okay. Unfortunately, I can't possibly cover the rest of this addendum, due to the fact there is too much redaction on this event unlike the rest who don't have too much redaction on them. So instead, I'll summarize it. Hope you don't mind. The Foundation investigated in some sort of headquarters building due to people disappearing, and some agent decided to investigate while accompanied by a doctor. He searched 5 floors, but 1 floor caused the audio to be corrupted. It is unknown why this occurred. After the 3rd floor is reached, some woman was heard. It was coming for the 5th floor, so the agent went into some business room and told her about the incident and questioned her. But the woman killed him with a kiss, and new staff are now taking control. By the way, the agent investigated on the 13th of June 1987. On the 14th of June however, the unit of Mobile Task Force numbered 55, the woman was eventually contained due to tranquilizing her, and sent to Site 12, but one of the members died from hereafter. And that's how YOS 552 came into existence. Well, that was unusual. This only comes up randomly when I'm slowly running out of time, or because of too much redaction to put the sound in. Anyways, moving on. Addendum 552-2. YOS 552 was sent to interact with other YOS subjects. One of them was within YOS 229's cell, and something unusual happened. They do not show signs of hostility towards each other. Instead, they communicated with each other for about 7 hours until leaving each other. It is unknown if they became friends after that. Addendum 552-3. YOS 552 claims to have obtained these types of lipsticks by simply buying them from an unknown pawn shop. The shop is currently being tracked down. That was YOS 552 everyone. Thanks to the person that requested this anomaly. If you want to see another one, request in the comments below. Again, I know this video did a quick summarization due to a certain problem I rarely see. If I see something that is quite complex, I will just summarize that. So sorry about this. Anyways, see you next time. Item number. YOS 1205. Object class. Safe. Containment procedures. The object must be within a steel safe that must require a 5-digit passcode, and the safe must be opened for testing purposes or for examination. If the object is not under investigation, no one is to collect it without permission of a Level 3 member. Testing with D-Class personnel must be cautioned and not cause death to the subject. Description. YOS 1205 appears to be a translucent stone, measuring that similar to a human heart, 12 centimeters or 5 inches, but possesses a red hue. The stone seems to be made from regular stone, and some organic matter, but most of it is human blood, and some crystalline matter. It possesses a unique effect when placed into a human or animal. If the object is placed into the body of the subject, it will show some movement similar to a regular heart, and will form some blood veins for the new blood to flow through, and will function as a second heart without any health problems from subjects. If the object is surgically removed from the subject, there is a 5 to 100% chance that the subject will either remain alive or dead, and the object will cease all of its original properties. Addendum 01. YOS 1205 was recovered from a doctor in a hospital of when the human male seemed to suffer from something inside his stomach, and the stone was surgically removed. The doctor, though it was a oversized kidney stone, but it was something entirely different as it's bigger than a regular kidney stone. The object was taken to the Foundation by agents and given the doctor and the patient amnestics. Addendum 02. Tests with living subjects are planned for YOS 1205. Test 1. D7561, age 26, 6 feet. Results. Subject died minutes later after removal of the item. Test 2. A female white-tailed deer. Odornicoileus virginianus. Results. Subject remained alive after removal of item. Test 3. A male wild boar. Sus scrofa. Results. Subject lived for a total of 3 hours, before perishing soon after. That was YOS 1205 everyone. Thanks to the person that requested this anomaly. If you want to see another one, request in the comments below. See you next time. Item number. YOS 507. Object class. Euclid. Containment procedures. YOS 507 is to be kept within a 6-meter humanoid cell on all 4 sides. Inner windows must be soundproof to prevent an effect from it. Communications with YOS 507 must be limited no more than 3 minutes, and personnel are to immediately leave the cell after. Only personnel with level 4 clearance are to interact with YOS 507 at any time. Personnel who are affected are to be placed in quarantine for 4 to 6 hours. Description. YOS 507 is a humanoid entity, with a rather flat face, colored yellow, with purple fur on its forehead, the rest of its body, and the back of its head, with 1.5-meter horns facing down. It also wears purple boots, with a pink bow tie on its torso. It has a mouth that can open up at a 90-degree angle, and functions similar to a puppet, and also shows no teeth. YOS 507 has confirmed that his rather small eyes make it difficult for it to see its surrounding environment, and often doesn't move at a certain amount of time. YOS 507 is also capable of speech, and it often likes to speak in order to keep it company, but he mostly prefers to speak with other people or sometimes animals. But if a person interacts or talks with YOS 507 for more than 3 minutes, they will keep talking with it non-stop, and will stop if their mouth starts aching or becomes tired. YOS 507 shows enjoyment when it talks with others, and will keep talking to others or himself, and show no signs of his mouth aching or becoming tired. Addendum 507-1. YOS 507's discovery. A woman named started bringing attention to the Foundation when she saw a rather communicative creature that seems to be enjoying talking to her. The woman was questioned and given amnestics, and the creature was taken to Site 71 for testing. Addendum 507-2. Interacting with YOS 507. AD class numbered 6701 went into YOS 507's cell and was requested to talk with it for more than 3 minutes. Audio was captured following this interaction. Begin log.
Hello.
Hello boy, how are you?
I don't even know at this point.
Well, I know what'll cheer you up. Communication. I've just been a good little boy, and then, I somehow ended up here.
I agree, I don't know why I'm here.
Well, do you see those folks over there? Who are they?
I'm afraid I can't tell you.
Okay then, well, as I was saying.
As 3 minutes passed, the D-class was talking to YOS 507 non-stop, and he was eventually taken out from the cell and quarantined. End log. Addendum 507-3. The truth. Dr. went to talk with YOS 507. Begin log.
Hello 507.
Wait, you a doctor?
Maybe.
Okay, whatever.
Anyways, I need to tell you something. Why do you like talking so much?
Because it's my passion, man. I like doing things like this.
What made you start liking to talk?
Well, when I opened my mouth, a noise came out, and I like noises, so I kept making noises like these.
Well, everyone makes noises, including nature, and animals alike.
Did you just come here just to tell me that?
No, I still have more to talk about. When did you meet this girl?
You mean? I like her voice. She feeds me with joy, and I like it a lot.
That's what leads me to my next question. Why do you let people keep talking to you?
Because I like to feed on it, because I am hungry.
Okay then, I guess that's all I need from you.
Come back whenever you like.
End log. Closing statement. Dr. came out in less than 3 minutes, and there was no need for quarantine after this. Additional notes for description. YOS 507 seems to feed on people's voices by speech, and claims he allows people to keep talking to it because it was hungry. That was YOS 507 everyone, thanks to the person that requested this anomaly. If you want to see another one, request in the comments below. See you next time. Item number. YOS 499. Object class. Keter. Containment procedures. The inner chamber must require multiple walls from inner to outer to effectively contain YOS 499. The walls must not be thinner than 8 meters thick. If it is not thicker by 8 meters, it must be replaced with a new wall with the correct thickness of the wall. Direct contact with YOS 499 must not be attempted, and the walls must be strong enough to prevent the entity's properties from taking effect. YOS 499 must be kept at a dormant state at all times, and its hostile state must not be provoked. Description. YOS 499 appears to be a vaguely shaped humanoid entity that appears to barely take the shape of a canine, but no identifiable features can be seen, due to the moving structure that is present on its mass. The structure present on its mass appears to be standard TV static that is always kept silent at all times, and is constantly moving within YOS 499. YOS 499 can vocalize, but will always sound like regular TV static. This is used for its behavior. When the static noise is low, it is dormant. When the noise is loud, it is hostile. YOS 499 is normally docile or dormant when a threat is not found. This applies to nearby organisms, although it will be hostile if an aggressor tries to attack him or it sees it as a threat. YOS 499 will attack by connecting its mass to the victim, causing pain to them. It will keep doing this until the subject significantly disappears, possibly killing them. Where they go is unknown. Testing is not to be attempted. Thanks to the person who requested this YOS. Request for another if you like. See you later. Item number YOS 229. Object Class Keter. Containment Procedures. YOS 229 is to be kept within an indestructible wall made of steel that must be connected to the floor at all times. It must be strong enough to prevent YOS 229's abilities from taking effect to it. No contact with YOS 229 must be attempted, and the cell must be completely locked down if contact is made. YOS 229 must be observed for its apparent behavioral changes. If its eyes appear white, the cell must be in lockdown. If its eyes turn back to a dark red, the cell is allowed to be unlocked. Description: YOS 229 is a humanoid that resembles a middle-aged man, but its entire shape appears red in color, but in different shades. Its cap, head, face, hair, and clothing appears to be covered in red, with the exception of the eyes, even though they appear red, but can turn into a bright white if an organism is within its proximity. When its eyes grow white when a subject is present, it will unlock its anomalous properties. It will pick up the victim with its hands, apparently using telekinesis to deal harm. It will repeatedly bang the victim with any surroundings that can deal harm to them if strong force is made to it. It can also tear the victim apart if it wants to. If the subject is killed, it will return to its inactive state. Addendum 229-1. YOS 229 was discovered when a human male is killed within his house. The subject has been found and taken to Site 12 for examination. Addendum 229-2. YOS 229 was in its cell. When YOS 552 entered its cell, it didn't go into its active state and didn't attempt to harm her. They were simply communicative, before YOS 552 left the cell. Thanks to the person who requested this YOS. Request for another if you like. See you later. Item number YOS 728. Object Class Euclid. Containment Procedures. YOS 728 is to be kept within a humanoid cell of 9 meters cubed. Observation is to be limited to make sure it's within the cell at all times. No one is to make contact with YOS 728 in a 0.5-mile radius. If it occurs, the area is to be locked until the subject is terminated. Any time that YOS 728 sends subjects to its location must be tracked and immediately removed. YOS 728 is to be tranquilized if necessary. Description: YOS 728 is a humanoid entity with devil features. It is colorful with purple, yellow, pink, and blue features. It has a mouth that can stretch to 1.5 meters long, and uses it to vocalize a sound similar to that used in a lullaby. But subjects will report that they feel uneasy upon hearing it, and often at times try to stay away from it. Often at times, it emits those sounds when it's dormant, but emits it loudly when it's hostile. When it's hostile, it will deal harm to the subject, and also use its anomalous abilities to lift up the subject and deal harm that way. YOS 728 rarely sends its victims to its dimension, now designated as YOS 728-M, and apparently traps them there without any chance to escape, and will eventually kill them within 3 hours, by closing in the walls or killing them itself. Despite its behavior, it can rarely appear passive to other subjects when it doesn't see them as a victim. This applies to other YOS subjects. Addendum 728-1. YOS 728-M was explored by a D-Class, D-8492, and was acquired with a walkie-talkie, and weapons if necessary. D-8492 was requested to explore the area before the 3-hour period is up. When the subject explores, the area seems like a maze. It's dark, molded, and devoid of life. He reports that he heard strange sounds echoing throughout the area. After 3 hours, he was terminated by the walls closing in and the Foundation lost signal. Thanks to the person who requested this YOS. Request for another if you like. See you later.
Level 3 273 clearance only.
Item number YOS 273. Object Class Euclid. Containment procedures. YOS 273 is being kept in a 4 meter by 4 meter by 4 meter containment room. The walls must be hard and thickened in order to prevent it from piercing through it easily. Testing must be cautioned when dealing with YOS 273, and no attempts of communicating with it should be attempted. No one should be within the cell for long periods of time, and food should be served to YOS 273 for more than 2 hours. Description: YOS 273 is a canine humanoid, with sharp edges of fur, razor-sharp teeth, and clothing, fur-colored purple, face-colored yellow, overalls colored green, and gloves, shoes, and nose-colored blue. YOS 273 seems to possess the behavior of a random wild animal, although it hisses like a cat when provoked, and will attack anyone who attempts to attack or harm it in any way, or when it sees them as a threat. It possesses sharp claws piercing its gloves and will use them for self-defense or for aggressive action. It is reasonably easy to incapacitate, as tranquilizer darts seem to cause a huge effect on it. Addendum 273-1. YOS 273 was discovered near Site 44, and personnel are to retrieve it by any means necessary. MTF Unit 58 went outside the facility in order to retrieve the entity. The entity was provoked, and instead of just terminating the entity was easily incapacitated by using tranquilizer darts. The entity was brought inside Site 44 for further testing. Addendum 273-2. On surveillance footage, YOS 273 and YOS 082 breached containment and eventually encountered each other. They ruthlessly attacked each other, causing them multiple injuries, until MTF Unit 62 tranquilizers both of them and was placed back into containment. Both entities recovered after 5 weeks. Thanks to the person who requested this YOS. Request for another if you like. See you later. Item number: YOS 092. Object class: Safe. Containment procedures: Drones are to be sent out to look after YOS 092, and they are to be returned within 2 to 4 hours. About 200 personnel are to board YOS 092 and look over any type of behavior that YOS 092 experienced. Anytime that YOS 092 reaches a nearby area of land, personnel are to control YOS 092 by using its wheel to prevent it from colliding with them. Description: YOS 092 appears to be an ordinary MSC Seascape cruise ship. It is 339 meters, 1,112.2 feet, and 74 meters, 242 feet, 9 inches. Its speeds are greater at 100 knots, or 115.08 miles per hour, but its speed often increases or decreases within 5 to 6 minutes. It appears to be organic in nature, as there appears to be organs similar to humans, as seen with X-rays. Even though it lacks any sensory organs, it still is aware of its surroundings, and is capable of smelling and feeling anything nearby. It is later found with a nervous system. Despite its awareness, it often struggles trying to not collide with any areas of land, and it needs assistance from any humans to help it avoid any of them. It doesn't show any signs of hostility, and appears to be grateful for humans landing on it, and it allows any Foundation personnel to reside within it as part of security. Despite its passive nature, it still needs to remain secret from other civilizations, and it must reside in parts of the ocean at all times: Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, Arctic Ocean, and Southern Ocean. Addendum 092-1. YOS 092 was discovered when no human beings were on it, yet it's still moving across the oceans. Personnel are required to reside within it, and others are to look after it with drones within 2 to 4 hours. If it's nearby any areas of land, they are to help it avoid collisions with them. Addendum 092-2. Personnel have later found some large organs underneath its surface, and also a nervous system. It's presumed sentient due to this, and they saw that it moves on its own accord, and seems aware of its surroundings. Further research must be conducted and see more of YOS 092. Thanks to the person who requested this YOS. Request for another if you like. See you later. Item number YOS 696. Object Class Keter. Containment Procedures. YOS 696 is to be kept within a bulletproof steel container at all times, and it must be connected to a hard surface to prevent any damages from occurring. Once a week, YOS 696 is to be required a small object to infect with. Objects that are infected with it should not reach the 30 object limit. Interaction with YOS 696 must not be attempted, except for testing purposes. Description: YOS 696 is an entity that seems to be completely enveloped by a crimson-red color, and it often breaks off from it at times. It uses this to make its anomalous properties stable, and has the ability to levitate, summon lightning, and completely envelop victims in a crimson red, eventually resulting in their death. Subjects report that they felt corrosion while being covered, and the pain was excruciating. Addendum 696-1. YOS 696 was discovered when a person covered in a crimson red, MTF Unit 88 was sent and the entity was incapacitated. It was taken to Site 13. Thanks to the person who requested this YOS. Request for another if you like. See you later.